Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. My last build video has done pretty well. It seems like people really enjoyed that one, and I'm glad some other people potentially got a new build in their arsenal. Today, I've got another build for you. We're sticking on Prismatic Warlock, and we are highlighting the newly reworked Sanguine alchemy. Essentially, what it does now is you get a ×4 surge when you're in your rift, which it lasts as long as you're killing boys because uh, when you extend your rift when you get kills with it. Essentially, you also mark enemies, and you also do I believe 10% more damage to them as well. So you're gonna be pumping out tons of weapon damage, especially against like bosses and stuff. This is excellent for boss damage phases and just general gameplay. You just are kind of rift oriented. The build I've got for you today, we are using Choir of One as our exotic of choice for weaponry, and this is an excellent void weapon that when you give it a bunch of damage buffs, it melts whatever void grenade launcher you want, and then just a separate primary. But let's get right into the meat and potatoes of the build, which is the actual subclass elements. We're running void weapons, so Nova Bomb is the super of choice. Nova Bomb's a solid choice on Prismatic Warlock. I think other than Song of Flame, you're not going to find a better super for Prismatic Warlock, so we'll go with that. We for sure want Healing Rift. That's very important to this build. It allows us to, center around our entire exotic, so you for sure need that. I run Arcane Needle. Whatever you can run whatever melee you want. It just helps me get some darkness class ability energy, which this build is pretty slow at generating. But you can get to Transcendence via Arcane Needle in our Strand primary, so that's why I have it included, even though Transcendence really doesn't have too much of an effect on this build. The grenade's just really nice. Regular old Vortex Grenade works well with this build. I like it to weaken enemies even further, so that we can damage them even more, so that's nice. We're going to be running Devour plus Hellion. I mean, this is a great combo. Hellion can proc Devour. Devour gives us a grenade back and heals us. It's just a great aspect. And then we're putting down rifts all the time, so Hellion works great. In theory, you could run Weaver's Call, but I think it's just vastly inferior to our good old boy Hellion. So, Fragments, we're running Hope to get our rift back quicker since our exotic's entirely based around it. Dominance, this allows us to get our Void Grenade to weaken. Protection to hopefully keep us alive. While you're standing in a rift, plus have Devour, plus Protection, you're pretty freaking tanky. Granted, you have max resilience as well. Facet of Awakening, this allows us to, all our Void kills are going to make Void Breaches for when we get a bunch of multi-kills. So those Void Breaches give us, guess what, class ability energy. So all that pumps into that, and then Bravery. So when we get kills with our Vortex Grenade or our Freezing Singularity, it's going to give our weapons either volatile rounds if we get the grenade kills, or unraveling rounds if you use Arcane Needle. If you don't want, if you prefer torches to just get the instant radiate for 5 seconds, you could run that instead. That is up to you. That is preference. I tend to like getting the volatile rounds, but this is a good way to get. You run volatile rounds because it gives you barrier and it gives you good ad clear. By the way, that's why we're running it. So I figured I'd just preference that. Like I said, weapons. I'm running Choir of One and Regnant. These are you can run whatever Void GL you prefer for damage. You will absolutely bake bosses and mini bosses when you're in your rift with the weapon surge, the weaken, and the mark target. So that's the weaponry, and then I'm just running a generic Strand pulse rifle. It doesn't really matter what you run in the kinetic as your primary. Armor. I'm running special ammo to try to get ammo for our Choir of One, Ashes to Assets to help build Nova Bombs slightly quicker, Harmonic Siphon to make orbs. Gloves, firepower to make orbs from our grenade kills, and then focusing and bolstering here to help us get our class ability back. I'm running all reserve mods. You can run resist mods, but reserves are pretty important, especially on Choir of One. Its ammo economy is okay, but after the nerfs, you definitely feel it more. Boots, Void Scavenger, and then to help get us more Void ammo, and then an Innervation Insulation to hopefully all those orbs we're making help us reduce our cooldowns. Then our Bond, we have Special Finisher in case we do run out of special ammo. And then we're running Reaper, just so that when we put down our Rift, we get an orb after, and then Bombers so that we get our grenade back quicker when we're rifting. That's the general premise of the build. The artifact mods this season don't help it too much. I think there's one related to Devour somewhere in here. But other than that, I wouldn't worry too much about the artifact this season. But I hope you enjoyed this build. I appreciate all the feedback on the last video. And so I'm not going to include any gameplay. It seems like people, when I looked at the analytics, didn't even watch the gameplay. So I hope you guys enjoy this build, and I will catch you in another video. Quick side note. I do have another variation of the Sanguine alchemy, but using Hierarchy of Needs for a solar version. You would run essentially the same stuff in here, except for we're running Song of Flame different. And then everything else is basically the same. I'm running Facet of Solitude with this one. You could also run Facet of Dawn if you want. But Hierarchy of Needs is a very stationary weapon, so it pairs really well with sitting in rifts. So you essentially just want to run the solar version of stuff for your setup here. Here's a quick overview. I just figured I'd throw it out there. I've ran both builds. This build is better for harder, like grandmasters and content where you're not running around all the time, to where you can be kind of slowly dink and dunk and really pound on the enemies. But the other one is better for more gunning, running, and just general damage phases with that grenade launcher. But I figured I'd throw this out there as an alternate option. So thanks for watching.